Hey, so we're
What's for?
back.
Yeah.
When you gotta hit that shmoney dance.
You said, you
Hey.
said, I seen you. I seen you. I like it.
Right, right. It was giving. It was giving. I was
It's
over
giving.
here like me and you must never part. My yeah, yeah.
No,
Right?
I felt
For
that.
the season two. So, welcome back to Who Woke the Savage. It's your girl, Miss Well and Woke, and I'm kicking it with the homie.
Lady A Savage.
Woo! And guess
You turned
what?
for season 2. I
I
see
don't
you.
know
You
what
came with a whole new vibe.
I look. I said the energy is here. It's here. It's here. Now I'm gonna
I
tell
felt
you right
that.
now. I don't know what kind of summer you've been having, but I'm telling you, it was giving. This summer was giving great energy. It was giving rejuvenation. It was giving growth.
You know what? Big word there. Okay. Big word. The growth. Did we improve?
Talk to me, friend. Ooh, did we
Did we
improve?
improve?
I was like,
Did we reach our goals? Did we reach new goals? Did we do things that we said we were going to do and finally did them?
I'm gonna tell you right now, that vision board was locked in. I'm like, it's layers, it's seasons and dreams that are connecting to one
You didn't
another.
just take
So
it as a
for those
craft.
out there, I didn't just take it as a craft. Like I'm telling you, it was how it needed to be. I'm telling you, I had to set it up a certain way to bring it into fruition. That's the word for the year, fruition. We're making it happen.
Felt that in my chakra.
But I got a little story, right? So I feel like this one is one of those things, right? It really is. It's one of those situations. Like I was working with a young woman who said something that really resonated with me, and I just got to get your
Okay.
opinion on this, friend. Right? Okay. So she basically
Okay.
said that growing up, she feels that she doesn't sparkle or shine the way that other women do. That she doesn't feel like that she has that wow factor, that pop, or that confidence. And I'm just like, I feel like growing up, I had a lot of people who would compliment me on being a confident person. And I always took it like I was taken aback by it because I was like, what does that mean? I was like, I'm just being myself. I'm just walking in my light. And I think that a lot
You
of
couldn't even
people
understand
like
what she was saying.
I couldn't really like gather it, right? Because I was trying to understand like where do people feel like confidence derives from? And like I know for a lot of people, especially in our community, it's like if you have a good support system, then you get bolstered, right? But if you don't have a good
Mm-hmm.
support system, you notice that some people struggle with their self-esteem. So I guess honestly, I guess I'm just trying to figure out like where do you feel were moments in your life where people encouraged you or people silenced you?
So I guess I feel the same way you felt. I never really had that issue. You dig what I'm saying? But I think also it comes with as a child. I feel like whatever you're told as a child and going through your life, that's how you will carry yourself. So I feel like if you're always told you're pretty, you're this, you're that, don't let nobody stop you, don't let nobody tell you different. That's how you carry yourself, no matter what. Like, hey, you're beautiful, you're this, you're proud, you're smart. That's how you carry yourself. So maybe it's one of those things where she wasn't told those things, so she
You know what?
never, poured it into
I think
herself. Because if nobody pours it into you, you have to pour it into yourself.
100%. So I could understand that being a young person, that's really hard, right? So if you're somebody of a certain age and you don't have people pouring into your cup, then you have to find ways to get it
Mm-hmm.
filled. And you don't want the wrong people to come into your life giving you validation that's giving you a false sense of self, right? So I think that as you get older, that vote of confidence shifts. And I see that they said like when you're younger, like people struggle with self-esteem around the ages of like 14 up until the ages of 30. But by
Okay,
the time that you hit about age 30, into your 60s, your confidence level continues to gradually improve. Like you just keep going up
I
on
can
an
see that.
incline. Yeah, people get more sure of themselves. They start to know who they are. They start to let certain things go. Like they start to move away from the crowd and all of the things that they feel like they should be doing or how they should present to the world.
I can for sure see that because I feel like it's also a different take that you take when you get. We talk about like them certain age groups. It's a certain take that you take on life after a while. where that confidence, you kind of like reinvent yourself at some of them ages too. Like you said, by the time you're 30, you done reinvented yourself. Like, you're not that person from before. Even if you might have been confident, I guarantee you're more confident. If you wasn't confident, you got some. You reinvent yourself in your 30s.
And I think that a lot of black women, I feel like in terms of finding their voice, or sometimes like they struggle with the idea of like you could be authentic and step into your light and your purpose without feeling like you have to
Mm-hmm.
fit into somebody's box, right? Because I used to be one of those people,
True.
like, one, I was always cautioned about how a woman, or especially a woman of color, should wear their hair at work or how they
Okay.
should dress when they go to work. I was like, baby, it's giving braids, it's giving natural, it's giving fro, it's giving all, and these are things that like I realize that a lot of the times could strip away at your confidence if you feel like you're not fitting into some type of corporate box that people have set up.
And you know what's crazy? I feel like sometimes we do it and don't even realize we do it, right? Because it's
Okay.
not till you said it where it's kind of like you do it without even realizing it. Because I remember I used to have a coworker where they're like, I feel crazy where I have long hair one day, come in here with a bob another day, do this. Because somebody's going to say, oh, your hair was just long. It was just this. Why is it short? Why is it that? And questioning different things. So it's kind of like sometimes you do it without even realizing that you're doing it.
And you know what's so crazy? That was a reality that I've experienced myself. So your coworker was on game with that one. I used to really feel like, okay, one day I'm gonna come in here with maybe blonde hair, and another day I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna be having locks, and another day I'm gonna come in here and I may be rocking my natural and I'm wearing a little curl flip. And
Mm-hmm.
somebody's always gonna say, and I would hear non people who look like us, they would usually say to me, wow, did your hair grow overnight? Wow, it
Overnight.
changed color overnight. Wow, it
Did it
changed
grow
color.
overnight?
Did it grow overnight?
That's the one.
Right? Those variants of microaggressions that sometimes you experience in the workplace, and then you have to be that much more confident as a person to navigate those types of systems, because after a while it makes you call things into question, like, am I drawing attention to myself? Is everybody zeroed in on me? And sometimes I
Mm-hmm.
got to a space where I was like, I am so comfortable with the space that I take up. Like, I know that when I enter in the room, I'm the brown braided,
I am here.
thick, thick Adonis
I am
queen,
here. I am here.
Aphrodite
Welcome.
princess, right?
Welcome in
Like,
all His glory.
in all its glory. You gotta walk in with your own theme music just straight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
With my
and you
platform heels on. With my platform
with
heels, I'm walking in.
the pump and a stride. Let it ride.
Mm-hmm. In
But
all
like
its
I feel like
glory.
when it comes to that, I know that people can constantly test your boundaries when it comes to confidence. And we've had this conversation. Remember that event that we were talking about? It was in Houston, I believe. It was that swim thick. Is that what it was called?
Oh, yes, it was, ma'am. Because I made sure to bring that to your attention.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right, right. So,
Some
and you
thick.
had all of these beautiful plus size women go out to this event, and they were wearing all of their swim attire, which has changed over the years. Because I was like, big girl swimwear back in the day was giving moo moo in the pool.
Let me
Now,
tell
big girl
you,
swim attire
big
is
girl.
serving looks.
Let me tell you, big girl swimwear back in the day was some capri shorts and a shirt that came all the way down here, probably longer than the shorts for real. That was big girl attire. They couldn't see big girls in nothing but a full body bathing suit. You had to have everything from your thighs up covered when you was a big girl. Now, baby, okay, the rolls is rolling out. We don't care. The rolls is rolling out these bathing suits. Thighs is fine. If you can show your butt cheeks, they showing that. We don't care. Same rules apply.
Right? So you it's
But
giving
like
wipe
you
me
said, it's
down.
the
Hey,
confidence.
hey, hey, hey. It's I said,
Like
thigh meat is out,
it's the
all the good stuff.
confidence.
And I love
If
it
you
because
got the confidence to show it, show it.
one of the things that I saw that was, really interesting is there was a lot of people posting TikTok videos about their experience with the event. And there were women who were like, yeah, a lot of people didn't think that there would be supporters of an event like this. Like the men wouldn't come out to the function to hang out with all of the plus size girlies and all of their glory. That people wouldn't buy tickets for something like that because they wouldn't feel as confident to step out on the scene.
Let me tell you
And they
something.
lied. They lied.
Big lie. Because let me tell you, it is 2025 and we working on 2026. They not hiding us no more. They not hiding them big girls in the house no more. They loving big girls. They take back in the day. You might well try to lie about hanging out with that big girl. You might well try to lie about smashing that big girl back in the day. Now, they taking them out to dinner. They feeding them all the meals they want. Taking them on trips. They wifing these big. They want the big girl, and I'm not talking about. And it be big girl. We ain't talking about like the average big. They be want. They be out here flaunting them. And they,
But
cause
you know what
the thing is this, love is love. You like what you like, and niggas like they not hiding it no more.
I think, I don't know if it was Ace Metaphor who said this, from the conversation. He was saying that there's a lot of men who lack confidence in themselves. There's a self-esteem issue that lies with them, and why they didn't feel comfortable bringing around the different women that they were in relationships with, no matter what size they were, because they felt like if their boys were to critique it, why should they experience it? Right? And I'm gonna be honest. I used to say this to you all the time. I was like, I would have female friends, and I was like, y'all, for those who are listening out there, I'm just saying, I'm gonna be real honest right now. I would have female friends who would confidently bring around men that ain't nobody was trying to take a good, strong 2-second look at. Okay. I was like, baby, you should have left him at home. We didn't need to know.
He was one of the men that you was supposed to bring outside.
But they, what, they loved them and they had healthy relationships with them, and they didn't let nobody tell them what to do and how to live their lives in a way that I didn't see a lot of men yield that same level of confidence with the women that they brought into their lives that they loved and they wanted to be around. It just didn't always seem evenly yoked.
But you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I had a conversation with a man one time too, and he put a different spin on what you said, pretty much. And I said, "Whoa!" I said, "I need a couple more men to validate this, because if this was true, which I can't say it ain't some truth behind it, because I was saying, people be like, oh, like I love thicker girls, this, that, and the third, and I was like, you'd be surprised. A lot of men will pick the smaller woman and be like, oh, that's my type, whatever, whatever. And he pretty much was like, yeah, because a lot of them, you know, they junk is small, call it what it is. You can't handle a big girl because you can't show up to the table to a big girl, and your confidence ain't hitting right at that area. Because you can't
You
show
must
up
be
with no
6'5".
four. They like you can't show up with no 4 inches and think you about to get behind all that. No, so a lot of y'all
You must
ain't
be
got the carry.
you must be 6'5" to ride this ride. No, I got you. But
And
you
I
know what? I
said,
think that
oh,
when we talk about how people view themselves in society, and we talk about like popular like advertisements for beauty, that was something that he mentioned too, that there's like specific beauty standards that exist, right? So we know we live in a society where people are fat phobic, people have issues around colorism, people have issues around texturism, and all of these things
facts.
exist, right? And I feel like, especially for women of color across the diaspora, there's a lot of issues around that where people are like, they want to be of a certain size, they want to be thick, but they want to be slim thick, right? They want to be brown
You want no
braided, but they
waste.
want but racially ambiguous, right? They want to have natural hair, but they want to have the ebbs and the flows, right? So everybody is trying to target a certain objective of what fits a stereotype or a prototype for what a person should be. And I think that other women who put themselves in comparison, and even other men who put themselves in comparison to these things, right? For whatever it looks like for
For
men as
sure.
well, it puts them
Because
at
the
odds
fact
with
is, men,
themselves.
I think it more so gets carried. I feel like it more so gets talked about when it comes to females, but men have a lot of them confidence issues too, like
Oh, let me.
a whole rack of them. But it's not addressed the same
Oh, it's not. Let me
because,
tell you
like you
one of the
said,
biggest ones.
because it's like you said, you still a lot of women still will bring that ugly man outside. A lot of women will still bring the man that ain't looking too hot, not too good of a dresser, not outside. Because guess what? You gonna dress him up. You gonna fix him. You gonna figure out what you gotta do to make him presentable to you. But a lot of men do have that confidence thing. But it's not like with women. I feel like it's more talked about. I feel like it's more of a thing where it's like with women, it's always like, oh, the insecurity, oh this, oh that. But it's a lot of men that's walking around with them same insecurities because of
Honestly,
things
they
that
said it
you had going on.
in terms of self-esteem, the percentage difference isn't that different of a variant, right? So like men and women have pretty similar confidence levels, but it's not always projected that way. I honestly used to have this
Mm,
conversation with people. I found men to be some of the most insecure people that I would come in contact with. And what they were good at doing was projecting. They were good at projecting. And it was just like A lot of times when they didn't feel like they were the people that they should be, or where they were in life, that they would kind of cast
Mm-hmm.
those feelings onto the people that they were dealing with. And that's just used to be my
Okay.
observation, that like when they lacked a certain level of confidence, they may not have been the type of partners to bolster. They may have been more critical, more judgmental, or a little bit more jealous of their partners when they feel like they weren't moving in the same direction. So I feel like a lot of people don't talk, they don't have that conversation. Like a young boy who grows up athletic, tall, coming into his own, tends to have an earlier onset of confidence. But when that same young man is now 30 years old and he losing his hair and it's receding a little bit back and he using
And
the
he getting that
polish
dad bod.
and getting that dad bod, it shakes a level of confidence because he's not quite where he was or who he thought he was at the same point in his life. And it's the same thing for women. Like I said, there's a lot of women who are told that they moving and shining like this when they're younger. They get a little older, life happens, right? People go through all different things in their lifetime, and some of it is health related, some of it is mental health related, and it has an
For
impact
sure.
on how people present their appearance, how they carry themselves, and it does play into self-esteem and confidence. But I think that there's a lot of ways that people could work on like having that positive self-talk to keep themselves like locked in and feel good about who they are and where they are no matter what's going on.
Mm-hmm. I will say this though, I don't to your original story. I don't know what you told baby girl, and I don't know if she's a watcher. But if you are beautiful, you are smart, you are amazing, you are everything that you could ever be, and you will be more. Okay, you will be
You
everything,
is
anything you want
kind,
to be. You can be. You is
you is
kind, you is
smart,
smart, you is important.
you is important.
Okay, anything you want to be, baby, you can be. When you walk into the next room, you walk in like you own that mother sucker. Okay, you walk in like you own that thing.
And you know, I love that people are starting to teach that to their children with the positive affirmations that they do every morning. I always said this. If I have children, I tell people I'm gonna have my kids wake up and stare at that little mirror on the wall and do those positive affirmations. I want to hear the I'm a queen, I'm a king. I want to speak like
Mm-hmm.
y'all know I always refer to us, the audience out here, I always refer to them as our royals, right? Our savagistas. I want them to speak that type of life and heart into themselves
Our our
every
real
day,
ones, yes.
before they get out into the world. I want them to be able to
Mm-hmm.
communicate that back because it's
Yeah,
important.
for
Like,
sure.
you know,
But you know what? I definitely agree with you with the mirror thing because I always thought to myself too, and I know you probably watch this because we pretty much watch the same thing. Kind of like being Mary Jane, like the post-it note situation.
yes.
Write your
Now,
favorite quote. Write things that you want to see and different things you read. Whether it can be anything, quotes, poems, something somebody told you, a friend. Because I have people that do that all the time, and I didn't realize it. Where I could say something, and they'd be like, "I'm gonna write that down," and they like, "I tell myself this
let me tell you
every
something.
every so often to remind myself something," and you don't
And
even
that
realize it.
you have to speak life into yourself. And I'm gonna say this: when I first used to watch Being Mary Jane, because that's my show. That was my show. They cut that off too early. Gabby was acting. Okay,
Hold on, wait a
but
minute. They cut off at the right time. They gave her everything she needed. They did what they were supposed to do with that show. You got to give it to them. They gave you the full ending.
rush plot endings. But anywho, I did feel when I was watching it, I used to be at odds with it. I was like, is this a little overkill? Is she like posting so much around herself? Is she trying to boost herself so much that she has to constantly remind herself how valuable she is? And then I found myself doing something as I've gotten older, like, and it's just weird. I love things with quotes. Sometimes I'm wearing a t-shirt that just says you're an amazing black woman,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's just like it's in my apparel. Or there's times where like I have a calendar like in my bathroom that just says you a badass, like go out and get it today. And
Anything
realizing that just having these like spirit like little sprinkles of positive affirmations drizzled around my
will
environment
jumpstart your day.
will jumpstart my day. And it's just like it's a connecting point. And I always teach the people like you have to have that. Everybody has to have their positive affirmation. But like you said, that visibility, having it around you as a reminder.
Yes,
It
for
works, I'm
sure.
telling you. It's tea, it's pain, I'm telling you.
And that's why I said, like, definitely, like, if I could be the post-it note person, Yes, for sure. Like I would tell my kids, like put that. But also, like you said, with being that, I feel like also when it comes to that show, I'm gonna tell you why you understand it better because I feel like when it first came out, we were not there yet. So I feel like we thought it was overkill because we weren't there. And then we got there, and you can read because I'm gonna tell you something now. I rewatched that show like probably about maybe a month ago. And when I tell you, we talk about this all the time. Watching stuff with grown eyes. When you watch things with grown eyes, you will get a different look on something. And now, re-looking at that show now, you will look at it differently. Because I was with you, I was like, "Good God Almighty!" Like I'm like everything. You know what I'm saying? Everything is something. Like you, it did feel a little overkill how it went. But then, if you re-look at it now and you think about different things you've been through, you'll be like, "No, that's about right. That's right. That
I mean,
that
that's
could
like
be
this.
no more accurate. Her storyline could be no more accurate than that."
That's the same
But
reality. Like, when you
I do like the fact that they did show a woman that was in a professional place. Like she had her business. She was about her business. She was about her money. She was
see how
somebody who
beautiful
had
home,
money. But yeah, a beautiful home. She had money. She was
beautiful.
that woman, but she had real life shit going on. So you can see what it looks like that we can have it all, but we still have real life shit. She didn't come from no broken home. She had both parents, this, that, and the third. It was like a real take on her being successful, but having to deal with everything. And on top of that, the dating world that came with that. And then, like you
And
said, that trying to uplift yourself when you don't feel confident. Because a lot of times she didn't feel
exactly.
confident.
And that's what it's about. I think that a lot of people struggle with whether or not they feel worthy, worthy of what it is that they have or don't have in society. And I think that that's a big factor for people, and what shakes or makes or breaks like how they view themselves in comparison to other people. And I was like, and that's one of the biggest things that you cannot do. You cannot compare yourself to anyone else because there's only one you. There's only one person that's gonna stride like you stride, move like you move, talk like you talk, walk like you walk, and you have to be
That's
able to
it.
own that. And I think that was such a big factor. And it's not just in shows like Being Mary Jane. People always bring up a common criticism. We used to grow up watching Moesha, right? I still catch a little highlight reel of a Moesha episode. And they
First of
always talk
all,
about
don't you talk no
that
bad on
dynamic.
Momo, okay? You know I love Moesha, okay? Don't
Look,
talk
look,
bad on
look.
Moesha.
I love, if I had to bring light to that show and the different
Mo to
characters in that
the
show, I love that. I love the fact that Moesha was a character that was a young black woman who was willing to navigate the world, take it by storm, challenge the status quo, and really was like for the people. Love it. But I also recognize
for
characters
sure.
like Kim, who were the natural creatives, right? Kim was the plus size glamour girl who had style, creativity, and was given energy. And
Mm-hmm.
you had a lot of little local little haters that would downplay that character
True.
when that was a different voice back in
Um,
the day to have,
her own her own friends downplayed her for real. For real, we want to talk about it because it was an episode about that. But that's for the real fans. We're not gonna go there. Um,
right?
but I will say what I did like is that they understood her personality and gave her her own show to shine. They gave her the
Very true.
pockets. So I do like that because by herself, honestly, it could have been like, the Moesha and Kim. Like, it literally could have been
Fact.
that because she was just as important as Moesha for real. Like, seriously.
For real.
But
She was
because
a
of
prominent
different
character.
things, yes, for
Yeah,
sure.
true
But
story.
honestly, she carried. Niecy was cool, but even like she carried a lot of weight in that show. She
She
carried a
did.
lot. So I do like the fact they gave her that, that platform to kind of be like, hey, maybe you do need your own little spinoff.
And something that we had mentioned early on in the episode, we were talking about like how people pouring into your cup makes a difference. And sometimes that starts in your household with your family. And I remember, like, I don't know, in a lot of households of color, there's an expression where people used to say children are meant to be seen and not heard. And I think that when you
We talked
hear
about
things like
that.
that
Yeah.
growing up, it's like a silenced voice, right? And when you're silenced in that reality, I think you start to silence your own voice. It's hard for you to decipher what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to be, how do you advocate for yourself, how do you communicate on your behalf. And that's why a lot of people have an issue or struggle with confidence, right? Because if you're quieted all the time as a child and your voice is constantly being stripped, how do you stand in a world that's so loud like this and keep your sturdy presence and keep a stable ground?
That's a fact, though. But it gets so cloudy. But I feel like we're all like you're figuring it out on your own. Because I feel like you said, we get to the point where we have done it. You know what I'm saying? Like we're doing it. You have to do it for yourself sometimes.
But I think it's exploration,
When
right? So
nobody
like
else is saying something, you have to do it for you.
I'm gonna tell you, like there's the girls who will say to you, and there's the guys who will say this. They built their confidence in the gym. They got in the gym. If they were the scrawny person, if they were the person that didn't feel like they were strong in mind or strong in body, they went in there. They started lifting. They started disciplining
But
themselves. They started dedicating themselves, and that helped bolster that level of confidence, not just on the outside, but on the inside as well, because of the mental health
on the
impacts.
inside. But then
So
also sometimes I feel like when you run into those people, sometimes depending on you're confident out loud, but then when it gets quiet, your confidence isn't that loud anymore. I feel like
ooh,
when you're outside, your confidence gets loud because you know, hey, look at me. I went in the gym, I buffed out, I was small, I was this. But when you get home, and we talked about when that silence kicks in, your
you could be your own
confidence
biggest
isn't that
hater.
loud anymore. Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes you self sabotage. We have talked about this self sabotage.
yeah.
Sometimes you will self sabotage yourself into something.
Most people, the thing that talks you out of most opportunities is your own criticism of self. What you tell
For
yourself you can
sure.
do or can't do. Plenty of people be like, oh, you know what? I'm not the right person for this. I shouldn't go out for that opportunity. I shouldn't allow myself in these spaces. And I think that's why having that confidence conversation with that young woman was so important to me, because I was like, when you take all those blows and hits to your self esteem now, it can spearhead into other areas of life, right? The types of relationships you choose to get into, the type of opportunities and jobs that you take for yourself. You know what I'm saying? The things that you would miss out on because you don't feel worthy enough, or you don't feel like you sparkle or shine like other
For
people
sure.
do. So I feel
Sometimes
like
you can be
yes,
your own worst enemy.
yeah.
Sometimes you can literally be your own worst enemy, and you have to kind of like tell yourself, like, I do deserve this. Like you said, go out, even if you believe you might not get picked in a chance of hell, do it anyway. I tell people all the time when it comes to anything, jobs, opportunities, something you want. Oh, I don't care what it is. Fill it out. Do it anyway. Because don't be the thing that's holding you back. Go for it anyway.
Sis, I'm telling you, I'm over here like Mama D. I deserve. I deserve.
I'm singing. Stop it. Stop it. I'm singing. I'm singing. Stop. Because no, for real. Because you have, and you know what's funny? I'm understanding that now, and I at my big old age. Because when I tell you, I will say that is something that my mother really instilled in me. Where she was like, always be at the front of the class. She was like, when that camera shows and you're at certain things, be in the front where the camera at. If they ask for volunteers, volunteer. If they ask for this, go up there. If they ask
Yeah.
who wants to go on this, you go do it. Be in the front line because she said you never know where you could go with certain things. Be in the front
Woo.
line all the time. Put your name out there. Say what you want to do. Tell them where you
Yes,
come from.
Mama.
Tell them who you are. Put yourself out
Yes.
there. And so I'm now understanding that that is so important to like really like go for what you want to go for. Even if you think you don't have a chance, say you did it anyway. If it doesn't happen, okay, cool, baby. It's all right. You're still amazing. But you can't say you didn't go for what you wanted to go for.
And you brought up a very interesting point. I was just having this conversation with my sibling, right? I was saying to one of my sisters, I was like, I feel like our mother was encouraging without applying pressure. She didn't tell us what
Mm-hmm.
we needed to be doing. She encouraged us to do it. She motivated our creativity and inspired us to like go after what we wanted to do. If we didn't know something, she would say, research it. You know what I'm saying? She encouraged us. She said, raise your hand, ask questions. I
Mm-hmm.
had one of those parents that literally always encouraged me to ask questions and to challenge what didn't make sense. And I think there's so many people who shrink themselves and they go like, I'm just going to listen to what everybody tells me. If somebody tells me I'm not good enough, I'm going to believe it. If they tell me I can't do it, I'm not going to
Yes.
do it. And she would
And
always
don't
tell me,
question it.
challenge what doesn't make sense. And I think that was also her way of teaching me how to protect myself and to bolster myself by being able to question what didn't make sense in my environment. If it didn't sit well with
Yes.
me, I was able to use my voice and push back against it so I could get to where I needed to be. And I think that the
Yes.
lessons from our mothers instilled very strong values in both of us as women. And you need that. And I know that everybody may not have had those vibrant experiences by having strong black women create strong black women. Like they said, I'm a black woman that came from a black woman who came from a black woman who
Yes.
create a black
Talk
woman.
about it.
You know, like that is the
Like I
core of
said,
who we are.
shout out to mama because you know low key she my best friend. But you know I love your mama.
Mama, you know I love you.
You know I love your mama. But no, for real, it really do be that. And it's like you said, it's not a pressure, but it's kind of like I if nobody else is going to speak it into you, I need to speak it into you. And sometimes and you see it with a lot. We're talking about females, but you see a lot with women and men. Sometimes people speak so bad into people where it's kind of like they grow up thinking that they are like this terrible person because somebody spoke so bad into them. So I am happy and proud to say I had somebody speaking positivity into me because you have a lot of people that had the opposite. Somebody was speaking something negative into them. Oh, you're not gonna be that. Don't they're not gonna pick you. They're not gonna do this. I don't even know why you even going out to do that little basketball camp. You can't really play for real. Like it's so many people that speak bad into you. But like I am praise God, like I am somebody where like somebody was speaking positive into me. So I
And
will
it's
say
not just
that
your family. It's never just your
it's
family too. I think
people.
there's also
It's
it's
people.
people. You got coaches, people in the choirs, the church, the
Yes.
community, like the programs that you were in that were telling you, they were also identifying areas in which you shine, right? I always say that
Yes.
everybody's not going to be great at everything, right? Everybody's not going to be great at
Yes.
everything. But there's going to be a lot of different ways that people shine. And I love people who hone in on that. Like I would get the kids that I work with who were like, if you weren't a strong athlete, but you were great artistically. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm going to continue
I
to
will
shine
say,
and build. And whatever you want to work on, if you want to get better athletically, we're going to go to the courts. We're going to work on. I'm going to put you in a program, find a program for you, and work with you and your mama. But if you shine in
yes.
this way, I want to continue to highlight the areas in which make you you.
Yes. And I will say, because even like, and I'll even speak for myself, even like something like this, right? I will say, I thank you, and I won't say other names because I don't want to say their names. But it's a lot of people that said this should have always been a thing for me. So I do thank you because we got together and we did this. And we did something that we didn't think we could do, but we did it. We spoke about it, we talked about it, and we believed in each other. And you believed in
Yes.
me the same way I believe in you. And it takes
Yes.
people like that. I've had other people, I've had coworkers, I have friends, different people. It's like, hey, do this. You have something here. You have a voice. You have things that people need to hear and people things that need to be said. So like you said, it's that speaking life into each other.
Oh, that's a whole fact. And I feel like that's been a huge reality in my life as well. I'm not even going to hold you. Like, I've always felt like I needed to be in spaces where I had people around me who had similar upbringing, similar energy, similar vibes, who understood that the company you keep and having friends that value you and see your worth and value is important. And I've had people all from different walks of life, like you said, coworkers, friends, family members, be like, "You
Yes.
were supposed to be here. You deserve to be here." I was telling you probably in the last episode, my uncle was like, "Hey, little Oprah," and
Tell uncle,
just
yeah,
hearing
uncle and grandma. I remember grandma too.
uncle
Tell
and
grandma,
grandma,
yep,
yes, you know,
and
like
grandma. I ain't thinking
just
about
having
grandma.
right, like people, just having people in your community that cheer you on all around, and just meeting people, even just like walking down the street. When you have the type of energy that's transformative, and I feel like people can vibe with you, and they know it's about being genuine. I can't stress this enough to people. Being genuine goes a long way. Being authentic goes a
For
long
sure.
way because you're walking in your purpose. And I think that when people continuously see you and they encourage you to do certain things, they see a light in you and they're telling you, walk in your purpose. There's something greater meant for you. And I feel like everybody has that type of calling on their life, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody has that path that they're supposed to continue to go on. And they just have to find the different access ways. If you didn't get it back in the day
Yep.
when you were young, continue to grow towards it as you get older.
That's it. It's like I see something in you you can't see in yourself. And sometimes it does be like that. Sometimes, like I said, we just talked about it, you can be your own worst enemy. And it's not sometimes you're not trying to be either. Sometimes you just didn't like confidence, the topic of the day. Sometimes you just don't
Yep.
have that confidence that people see. Like, hey, I see this in you. I see that you could be here. Like, I get it. You're doing good. Okay, cool. But you could be so much better. It's so many things you could do. So many different platforms. So many different things that you should do that I see in you. But your confidence hasn't quite got there. And sometimes, like I said, we have to speak into ourselves, and then eventually we will get there. And that's why we are here.
Do you feel like culture influence confidence? Because I do feel like there's attributes of our culture as African American, as people African by way of the diaspora, and I'm gonna say this like this: as being African American, whether
Mm-hmm.
you're Afro Caribbean or Afro Latino or of African descent, our culture plays a big part in our confidence level. Because whereas our culture as a whole was devalued and diminished by people who
Okay.
didn't look like us, I feel like there is such an emergence or such a surge of like black beauty, black intelligence, black wealth, black pride that is
Come on
exuding in
now.
ways that we had to continue to grow on. We had to continue, like, it is so easy for brown braided children to struggle sometimes with feeling confident and empowered. And I feel like our culture
Yes.
has now transcended by creating so many different avenues that allow you. You can be the YouTuber, right? You can be the cosmetologist, the athlete, the entrepreneur. You can be the creator, you can be the inventor, you can be the engineer. You can see yourselves
Anything with it.
replicated in other people growing. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
that means a lot, right? Like growing up, like you said, we saw positive people that may have been on TV, but now you can click over and see your friends doing it. You can see the
That's it.
homies making it,
Welcome.
right? You know what
Welcome.
I'm
We
saying?
are here.
Like, right? Like you can
But
see
you know
people
what?
creating and stepping out of their comfort zone.
It amazes me sometimes because you know what? When it comes to confidence, and it's so wild to me. So I had somebody give me a scenario, right? And I never even realized it. And I started realizing it. So we were going on, a cruise or whatever. You're in the airport and you're going different places. So they were like, I noticed whenever I cross another, African American, that we tend to put our heads down like we're trying to avoid each other. We don't lift our heads up. And I want to look them in their face and be like, hey, how are you, gorgeous? How are you, beautiful? How are you, this? I want to uplift my people. They're like, too many times when we see each other, we feel like we got to put our heads down and ignore each other. And I said, I never really noticed that. Like, it wasn't until
Yeah,
they brought that
I
up.
feel you.
And I do respect the fact that now we're getting to the point where you can be in the women's bathroom and kind of see another African American be like, hey, beautiful,
Yes.
hey, gorgeous, hey, this. I love your outfit. I love this. I love everything about you, and it's not even on no crazy kind of tip. But
Let me
when
tell
she
you
said
something.
that, I'm like, I never realized that we really will kind of hold our heads down. She was like, I'm gonna tell the next person, like, pick your head up. Like,
I'm
how
gonna
are
say two.
you?
I'm gonna say two things to that, right? And it's just because you spoke so much life into that statement. Today, I was in the Sephora, right? I get off of work and I'm like, let me just run into this Sephora real quick. I need to pick up a product that I'm running out
Mm-hmm.
of. And this woman, this black woman, she says to me, she's like, hey, cousin. And I just turned around, like, I was like, did I know this sister, right? And she was just like, you remind me of somebody that I knew growing up. And she was just like, hey, beautiful, like, how's your day going? And we started talking about the different products. And I gave her a recommendation, like, sis, you should go to Al over here and find this. This is a good product. And this, that, and the third. And we
Mm-hmm.
started talking like family. And the other woman in the store who was kind of like, I guess, helping her, assisting her before, was so amazed that we didn't really know each other, but it felt like kinfolk, right? It felt like family. And I do love that we're
Facts.
getting there because my father did teach me something very early on. I think I was very young. Maybe I could probably go as far back and say maybe I was 5 years old and I was walking one time and I was just watching the cracks in the road. I'm looking down. And he was like, don't ever walk with your head down. And it was a constant
Mm-hmm.
reminder, like you keep your head up when you're walking so you see what's coming in front of you, so that you know where you're going, so you know what's around, and so that people can see you. And when my father
Yes.
really put it on me, it was a constant reminder that kind of stayed with me. And I realized that when I walk into spaces and rooms, this head is always elevated, and I'm always wearing that as a reminder. But all right, is
Yes.
it savage question time?
Yes, ma'am. So anybody that's new here,
Oh.
we have the savage question. So Miss Willenwoke, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. The savage question: are people trying to humble you or dim your shine? Is there a difference?
It depends on intentionality. And I'm gonna say it just like that, right? I remember I got online one day and I was saying, like, man, I'm so happy with the direction that life is going in and how much work that I've
Mm-hmm.
dedicated and put into myself. And somebody wrote me back and was like, "Oh, sis, be humble." I was like, "Oh, wait, hold up." I didn't know that because I was celebrating myself, not patting myself on the back, but celebrating myself, that was equated or
Mm-hmm.
considered me not being humble. And I had to ask myself, I said, am I saying something wrong or is that person being a hater? Because they don't know my personal triumphs or battles that I've had to overcome and why I'm encouraging myself
That's
and
fact.
why am I celebrating myself out loud. So I do feel like there's a combination. Is there a difference? It all speaks to the intentions of the person who's giving the critique. Are you saying what you're saying to really give me light so that it's a wake up call that I need to be humbled? Are you saying what you're saying because you want me to shrink myself?
So here's my take on it personally. I do feel like it's a difference. It's a thin line, but it is a difference. So if me and you are out, right? And granted, here's the thing. Everybody has a preference. We talk about this, like, certain things like hotels, different things. Everybody has a preference and a luxury to certain things. Cool. Not a problem.
Yes, we
But if
do.
we're out and let's say you see a homeless person, whatever, you're like, oh, I'm not giving him no money. I'm not. And somebody be like, oh, wait a minute, humble yourself a little bit because that could be you. You could be that
Yes.
person where you could lose your job. You could right now things are going good, but what if something happened and they make a cut and you're on the cut and now you're homeless because you can't pay your rent and you can't do this. That's a humble. But if I'm sitting up here and I'm having things happen to me because some light is shining on me, because light is shining on me, it's my time to shine. And you're sitting up here saying, you can't and you won't and you're never and you're this, you're trying to dim my light. That is two different things. Saying be humble because you could be in this situation is one thing, but saying, oh, you wasn't supposed to and you couldn't and you're little this and now you're trying to dim my light. That's two different things. You have somebody that's trying to dim you, and then you have somebody that's saying, hey, don't shit on everybody because you could be a person that could be in this situation.
100%. Like I was just thinking to myself the other day, right? Like I work in the city and I was thinking about some people and those specific
Mm.
people basically they were like jogging and hop skipping over like the bums. I'm just gonna be for real. Like I was just like, how do you find yourself
Please
so
stop.
like
Not jogging
so
hips.
desensitized? Yes, like desensitized that they were just jumping over people, like as if they didn't have
Hurdling
value
over the
or
homeless.
didn't
Is that what you're saying? Hurdling over the homeless. Okay.
just hurdling. And it was blowing minds. Like it was personally blowing minds. Like when did we become so desensitized? So I said like, people need to humble themselves. Like how hard is it for you to acknowledge somebody or to even just be like respectful of somebody's personal space? To the fact that like the man is asleep on the street and slept there probably in the cold last night, and you literally woke up and was like, I gotta get to work, hop, skip, gotta get to work, hop, skip. And I was like, that's a rough one. But I agree with you because, like I said, we are all sometimes maybe one paycheck, one bad investment, one injury, one failed business, one Donald Trump away from losing it all. Okay.
That's it. One bad visit at the casino. Like we are one everything away. Everything away. One bad. Oops, that was my last in the casino. One bad, like you said, investment. Oh, you done said the wrong thing to the wrong coworker or the wrong boss. We all know what's going on in the economy right now. One wrong thing away, and we all sitting up here on the unemployment line.
It's true, but I think that people have to start checking themselves though. Before you say something to another person, figure out, is it necessary? Are you saying this
To
because you
say,
really want to support somebody and help them with their growth? Or are you saying it because it comes from a different place? And that's why I said, is this information valuable? Is it necessary? Am I encouraging somebody with this word? Even if I'm shaking their core. Like we always say this, sometimes it's gonna hurt, sometimes it's gonna heal. The reality of it is it
Hello.
needs to be said. It needs to be said, right? So I was like, if I'm gonna speak honesty and transparency, I'm not gonna do it to hurt somebody. I'm gonna do it with the intention. I said the intentionality is to make sure that somebody needs to hear this information so that they can work on something that'll help them be the better version of themselves. And I would hope that people would do the same for me. They say that people do not take lightly to criticism from people that they don't like. If somebody is your friend or family member and you love them and you respect them, I can take criticism from people that I respect. But if we don't rock with each other like that and you just want to comment on me and push my confidence boundaries by pouring negativity onto me, no, I don't have to take your humble myself to heart.
Yes. Like you said, I feel like humble is you trying to help me understand something. Humble is you trying to grow me and make sure I don't lose my way. That's what I feel like humble is. Yes, you are blessed. Yes, things have happened to you, but don't lose sight that things could turn a certain way. Be humble in that aspect. I feel like dimming your light is a hater. Dimming your light is somebody, like I said, get a little house and get a little car and get a little of this. That's a
Ooh, get
hater.
a little of this, get a little of that. That's a
Yes,
hater.
a little
And
person. I can't stand a little person. I'm gonna tell you something right now. Something in here. When a little person come, I can't stand a little person. My little darling and my little this and my little yeah, yeah. That's a dim a light person. But a humble person just saying, "Hey, I'm trying to speak something into you to let you know, yes, you are blessed, but don't go too far off the path where you think you're untouchable. You can
mm,
still be touched. You're not untouchable. You can still be touched. Just be humble in what you're doing. Yes, you have something going on. Yes, this is the case. But don't think you're untouchable. You can just sit up here and just say what you want and just think you're above everybody. No.
facts.
Somebody that's dimming your light is hating on how you're moving because they are not where they need to be in the moment.
Or you know what? They don't understand it or they haven't seen anybody do it. Like there's always going to be a
Mm-hmm.
person in somebody's community that does something different than the next person, right? Everybody has somebody in their neighborhood who's made it out, right? For quote unquote, whatever making it out is, by however means they chose to make it out, right? You got that person who's like, yeah, you know what? I wrote a book. I made it out. You got that person who's like, hey, like I wrote a song and I made it out. You got that person that's
That's
like,
right.
man, I played the lotto and I hit the right number and I made it out. And
Lay it
by
out.
whatever means, they made it out. And because you didn't foresee somebody doing it the same way that you're doing it, there's a likelihood that you may throw salt in their game and you may become, like you said, that inside hater in the camp, that crabs in the barrel person, that low person that's always throwing
That low
salt because you
everything.
you couldn't conceive that there's different ways that people do things. And that's just like some people dim other people's light because it's hard for them to conceive that there's other avenues and that people can shine in a multitude of ways. And because they're struggling to figure out how do they shine and get what they want to get. And that's just the real.
That's fact. No, for real. And like I said, hopefully we get better. That's the whole point. To get better, to do better,
Hmm.
and understand things that we're all, like I said, we're growing together. We're all growing together. It's a growth process.
That's what the Who Woke the Savage community is about.
No facts. Like we are all growing together. One band, one sound.
And so, like this has always been like a blessing and a joy for us to come and kick it. We had a little season break, but we always kicking it back with our people. It's so dope that we kicked off our season too. And I hope if you weren't feeling confident before this, that you were feeling boosted. Like you said, you smart, you kind, you important, all those good
You
gems. I
important.
hope that you receive them. I hope that you all receive them out there. And when you have the opportunity to check in with us, we're going to be kicking it here on Thursdays, every other Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m., streaming on YouTube, streaming on Facebook, Instagram, and eventually y'all going to see us on TikTok, but all of the places where you get your streaming content, especially powered by Riverside FM. We appreciate y'all for joining us. For those who rock, come back, weigh in, comment, and celebrate. Yet again, it's your girl, Miss Well and Woke, with my amazing homie.
Miss Lady A Savage, we love y'all. Royals, real ones, we appreciate y'all so much. Season 1 was amazing. We're trying to make season 2 even better. So, like we said before, if it's any topics, savage questions, please DM everything you can do. Any
Slide in the
topics y'all want to
DM.
hear, we'll take those too. You can slide in the DMs as well. Anything you want to hear, let us know because we're here for y'all. Like I said, we love y'all for free.
We love y'all for free. Do what it says in the corner. Like and subscribe. All right, we out of here, y'all.
We out.